Some bikes last forever, others fall apart before the warranty expires. Kawasaki has built both legends and lemons, and today we are counting down the 4 worst and 5 best Kawasaki motorcycles you can own in the US. These machines will either run 100,000 miles without breaking a sweat or drain your bank account faster than premium gas. Let's dive straight into our countdown. Number 4 on the worst list, the Kawasaki Ninja 300 from 2013 to 2017. This 296cc parallel twin beginner bike looked perfect on paper. 39 horsepower, lightweight, affordable. What could go wrong? Everything. The ECU had a mind of its own, cutting power mid-ride without warning. Imagine merging onto Interstate 95, throttle wide open, and suddenly the bike just dies. That is not a teaching moment. That is a death trap. The electrical control unit failed so often that forums exploded with complaints. Owners reported stalling in traffic, which is dangerous enough, but add overheating to the mix and you have got a recipe for disaster. This bike cooked itself in stop-and-go situations, with the temperature gauge climbing into the red zone like it was racing to melt down. Fork seals leaked oil after just 10,000 miles. That is pathetic for a modern motorcycle. Most bikes go 30,000 miles before seals even think about giving up. The brakes felt spongy from day one, requiring harder pulls than any sport bike should. And the chain, it needed constant babysitting, adjustments every 500 miles instead of the normal 1,000-mile intervals. These bikes sell used for around $3,000 now, cheap enough to tempt new riders. But here is the truth. Those savings vanish the moment something breaks, and on the early Ninja 300, something always breaks. Later models after 2017 fixed some problems, but the 2013 to 2017 years are a gamble you should not take. Number 3. The Kawasaki Eliminator. This budget cruiser tried to compete, but failed where it mattered most. The 451 cubic centimeter parallel twin makes 45 horsepower, which sounds acceptable until you actually twist the throttle on an American highway. This bike wheezes past 70 miles per hour like it is climbing Mount Everest. Passing semi-trucks requires planning 3 exits ahead because acceleration is painfully sluggish. Top speed hits around 100 miles per hour, but getting there feels like watching paint dry. The suspension is stiff as a board, turning every pothole into a kidney punch. American roads are rough, and this bike amplifies every crack and bump straight into your spine. Longer rides become torture sessions, with the seat feeling like a wooden plank covered in sandpaper. The fuel tank holds just 3.4 gallons. That means gas station stops every 150 miles, killing any chance of enjoying an uninterrupted ride across country. The seat itself has minimal padding, going numb after an hour of riding. Kawasaki priced this at $6,500 new, trying to undercut competitors, but resale value collapses faster than a house of cards. Sell it a year later and expect to lose 30% just to find a buyer. There is no gear indicator either, leaving new riders constantly guessing what gear they are in. This bike works fine for short trips to the grocery store, but anyone wanting a real cruiser experience should keep looking. The Eliminator is not just underpowered, it is underwhelming in every category that matters. At number 2 on the worst list sits the 2016 to 2018 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R. This one hurts because the bike itself is a weapon. The 998 cubic centimeter inline-4 cranks out 200 horsepower of pure track dominating fury. The problem is not the power, it is the transmission. Kawasaki equipped these bikes with gears that could not handle the engine's brutal force. Under hard shifts, the gears literally broke apart, potentially locking the rear wheel at speed. Picture yourself screaming down a straightaway at 150 miles per hour when suddenly your rear tire stops rotating. That is not a mechanical failure, that is a disaster waiting to erase you from existence. Thousands of bikes got recalled, and Kawasaki replaced the faulty gears for free. But here is the catch. Plenty of used bikes on the market today never got the fix. Buyers need to verify the VIN against NHTSA records before handing over cash. Beyond the transmission nightmare, this bike costs a fortune to maintain. Insurance companies see that 200 horsepower figure and charge premium rates, often $500 per year or more for full coverage. Parts wear faster too, because everything on this bike operates at the limit. Brake pads, tires, chains, they all need replacing more frequently than slower machines. If those gears fail after the warranty expires, repair bills can hit $3,000 easily. Later models from 2019 onwards solved the problem with stronger components, making those years safe to buy. But the 2016 to 2018 versions carry serious risk unless you personally confirm the recall work was completed. Used examples sell around $10,000 now, tempting performance junkies. Just make sure you are not buying someone else's ticking time bomb. The worst Kawasaki to avoid is the Vulcan 2000, a massive cruiser that Kawasaki built from 2004 to 2010. This machine packs a 2,053 cubic centimeter V-twin engine, the biggest displacement Kawasaki ever stuffed into a production motorcycle. That engine pumps out 103 horsepower and a tire-shredding 141 pound-feet of torque. Straight-line acceleration is brutal, violent even. The problem is everything else. This bike weighs 820 pounds, making it a nightmare to maneuver anywhere slower than highway speeds. Parking lots become wrestling matches. The kickstand was notoriously weak, bending under the bike's massive weight on soft ground or uneven pavement. Owners watched their expensive cruisers topple over because the stand just gave up. That is not engineering, that is failure. The front drive pulley wore out prematurely from all that torque hammering through the drivetrain. Replacing a pulley costs around $800 in parts and labor, and it is not a question of if, but when. After 20,000 miles, valve train noise becomes impossible to ignore, a constant ticking that gets louder with every mile. Adjusting valves on this engine is complex and expensive, running about $600 at a dealer. The seat is terrible for long rides, hard as concrete and shaped wrong for human anatomy. After 2 hours, your backside goes completely numb. The clutch lever pull is heavy too, turning stop-and-go traffic into a left-hand workout that nobody asked for. Electrical problems plagued these bikes, with idle speeds jumping around randomly and cold starts becoming a gamble. Will it fire up or just click? Who knows? Fuel economy drops to 30 miles per gallon, which is embarrassing for any motorcycle. The 8.7-gallon tank provides 260 miles of range, but you are not riding 260 miles on this torture device anyway. Parts availability has gotten worse since production ended in 2010. Some components now require special orders from Japan with wait times stretching into weeks. Owners who truly love the bike accept these issues as the price of admission. Most reviews call it a money pit, and they are right. For what you will spend maintaining one Vulcan 2000, you could own 2 more reliable cruisers and still have cash left over. This bike is not just the worst Kawasaki, it is a cautionary tale about putting too much engine in too much motorcycle. Now let's flip the script and talk about the good stuff. Number 5 of the best bikes, the Kawasaki Ninja 650. This 649cc parallel twin delivers 67 horsepower, hitting that perfect sweet spot between beginner-friendly and experienced rider-capable. The engine produces smooth, predictable power with 47 pound-feet of torque, enough to merge onto interstates confidently without feeling like you are riding a missile. Kawasaki updated this bike in 2020 with a color TFT display showing gear position, fuel consumption, and smartphone connectivity for navigation. The upright riding position saves your back compared to aggressive sport bikes. You can ride 300 miles in a day without cramping up or questioning your life choices. Weight sits at 423 pounds wet, light enough for newer riders to handle at stops, but stable enough at highway speeds to inspire confidence. The bike rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 3.5 seconds, plenty quick for real-world riding without being scary. Fuel economy hits 45 to 50 miles per gallon depending on how hard you twist the throttle, giving over 200 miles per tank from the 4.1-gallon capacity. LED lights front and rear provide excellent visibility at night, and ABS brakes come standard for safer stopping in wet conditions. Maintenance costs stay dirt cheap because the parallel twin engine is simple to work on. Oil changes every 3,000 miles cost about $50 if you wrench it yourself, and valve checks are not needed until 15,000 miles. Owners report bulletproof reliability, with some logging over 80,000 miles, without major repairs beyond normal consumables like tires and brake pads. Let's talk numbers. Insurance rates stay reasonable because it is classified as a sport tourer rather than a pure sport bike, averaging around $300 per year for full coverage. The price point of $8,000 new makes it accessible, and used models from 2017 onwards hold value well. This bike handles daily commuting, weekend canyon carving, and occasional two-up riding equally well. Parts are widely available at dealers across the US, and the aftermarket offers tons of upgrades like slip-on exhausts and comfort seats. The Ninja 650 is not trying to be the fastest or the flashiest. It is trying to be reliable, versatile, and fun. It succeeds at all three without breaking your bank account or your back. Number 4 on the best list is the Kawasaki Vulcan 900, a cruiser that has been proving doubters wrong since 2006. The 903 cubic centimeter V-twin engine makes 50 horsepower and 58 pound-feet of torque, tuned for low-end grunt rather than high RPM screaming. This means pulling away from stoplights feels effortless without needing to rev the engine into the stratosphere. The belt drive system requires almost zero maintenance compared to chain-driven bikes. Just a visual inspection every few thousand miles. Fuel injection ensures reliable cold starts even in freezing temperatures, eliminating the carburetor tuning nightmares that plagued older cruisers. Seat height measures just 26.8 inches, low enough that riders with shorter inseams can plant both feet flat at stops. The riding position is classic cruiser style with forward foot pegs and a laid-back posture that looks cool and feels comfortable for hours. Weight comes in at 620 pounds, substantial enough to feel planted on the highway but manageable for most riders. Fuel economy averages 40 to 45 miles per gallon, impressive for a V-twin cruiser, giving over 200 miles from the 5-gallon tank. The 5-speed transmission provides good ratios for cruising, though a 6th gear would help at speeds over 70 miles per hour by lowering engine RPM and reducing vibration. Long-term reliability reports are outstanding. Owners ride these bikes for 10 years and 50,000 miles with nothing but routine maintenance. One owner documented their experience over a decade, noting they only replaced tires, batteries, and did regular oil changes. No major component failures, no expensive repairs, just dependable transportation year after year. That is bulletproof reliability. The classic styling works for everything from daily commuting to motorcycle rallies like Sturgis, where the Vulcan 900 is more nimble than larger cruisers in crowded parking areas. New pricing starts around $9,000, and examples from the last 5 years hold value around $6,000 to $7,000. The base model lacks a tachometer, which some riders miss, but the custom and classic variants offer different styling options. Aftermarket support is strong with luggage options, windshields, and exhaust upgrades readily available. The Vulcan 900 is not flashy. It is not cutting edge. It is just good. And sometimes good is exactly what you need. If you love motorcycles and are having fun, drop a like and subscribe. The Versys 650 takes the number 3 spot, built on the same 649 cubic centimeter parallel twin platform as the Ninja 650, but tuned for adventure touring. The engine makes 67 horsepower with broader torque delivery for off-pavement capability, though this is more adventure-styled than a true dirt bike. Curb weight sits at 476 pounds with a full tank, and the upright seating position with a tall windscreen makes interstate miles comfortable. Ground clearance measures 6.3 inches, not quite dual sport territory, but enough for gravel roads and light trails without scraping expensive parts on rocks. The suspension features adjustable front forks and rear shock, letting riders dial in the setup for solo riding or two-up touring. Seat height is adjustable too, ranging from 32.7 to 33.5 inches, though that is tall for shorter riders. The windshield adjusts without tools, moving up for better wind protection or down for less buffeting. Newer models include Bluetooth connectivity and TFT displays for modern features. Fuel capacity of 5.5 gallons provides over 200 miles of range at the 40 to 45 miles per gallon fuel economy this bike achieves. Panniers mount easily with Kawasaki's factory luggage system, turning this into a capable cross-country tourer, ready to swallow camping gear and still handle twisty mountain roads. Reliability testing shows these bikes handle hard use without breaking down. One long-term test bike went 50,000 miles over 3 years, with 0 mechanical issues beyond oil changes and 1 chain replacement. That is the kind of reliability that builds trust. The gearbox can feel clunky with a notchy shift action, especially when cold, but it is perfectly functional once warmed up. Some riders add aftermarket gear linkages to smooth this out. The stock seat tilts forward slightly, causing riders to slide into the tank on long rides. Aftermarket seats from companies like Sargent fix this for around $400. Brakes feel spongy from the factory, typically requiring better brake lines for improved feel. These are minor complaints on an otherwise excellent package. For US riders planning trips on Route 66 or exploring national parks, the Versys 650 handles pavement and dirt equally well. New pricing at $9,000 competes with Chinese adventure bikes, but the Kawasaki's build quality and dealer network justify every penny. The Ninja ZX-6R comes in at number 2, representing Kawasaki's middleweight supersport legacy since 1995. The current 636 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine produces 128 horsepower at 13,000 RPM with 52 pound-feet of torque. This engine is famous for its mid-range punch, unlike 600cc competitors that need high revs to make power. You can actually use this power on the street without redlining every gear. The chassis weighs 430 pounds wet, nimble enough for tight corners, while stable at triple-digit speeds. Brembo brakes provide incredible stopping power with great feel at the lever, inspiring confidence when braking hard into corners. Modern versions include ride modes with full power or low power options, traction control, and a quick shifter for clutchless upshifts. The quick shifter is particularly useful on track days, cutting shift times and keeping the power flowing through every gear. Fuel capacity sits at 4.5 gallons, enough for 150 miles of spirited riding at 35 miles per gallon. The riding position is aggressive with low clip on handlebars, so this is not a comfortable commuter for everyone. But for canyon carving on roads like California's Mulholland Highway or track days at Laguna Seca, the ZX-6R is a masterpiece of engineering. This bike feels alive under you, communicating every bump, every shift in weight, every change in grip. Reliability has been strong since 2013, with cam chain tensioners proving durable if oil changes happen every 4,000 miles as recommended. Earlier models from 2005 to 2006 had temperature sensor failures causing erratic gauge readings, but modern bikes fixed this completely. The 2024 and 2025 models faced a recall for crankshaft issues where insufficient clearance could cause bearing failure. Kawasaki addressed this quickly with free repairs, so check recall status on newer used bikes before buying. Maintenance costs run higher than commuter bikes because performance parts wear faster. Brake pads might need replacing every 8,000 miles with aggressive riding, and tires last 5,000 miles if you push hard in the canyons. Insurance averages $500 per year for full coverage due to the sport bike classification. Used bikes from 2019 onwards sell for $8,000 to $10,000, depending on mileage and condition. This bike suits riders who prioritize performance and do not mind the aggressive ergonomics. Compared to the Yamaha R6, the ZX-6R offers more street-friendly power delivery and better low-end torque. Track day enthusiasts love this bike because it is competitive right out of the box without needing expensive modifications. The inline-4 engine sound is addictive too, screaming to the 14,000 RPM redline with a mechanical symphony that pure sport bike fans crave. The Ninja ZX-6R is not just fast, it is precise. And precision at speed is what separates good bikes from great ones. The best Kawasaki motorcycle to own is the KLR 650, a dual sport legend that has been proving itself since 1987. This bike is not fancy, it is not fast, it is bulletproof. The 652cc single-cylinder engine makes 37 horsepower and 39 pound-feet of torque, numbers that sound low on paper but work perfectly for adventure riding. The engine is nearly indestructible, with a simple air and oil-cooled design that is easy to maintain anywhere, from your garage to a trail in the middle of nowhere. Dry weight sits at 456 pounds, and the bike stands tall with a 35-inch seat height and 9.8 inches of ground clearance for tackling rough terrain that would stop street bikes dead. The 21-inch front wheel rolls over obstacles like rocks, ruts, and roots with ease. The rugged suspension soaks up whoops and bumps that would rattle your teeth out on a road bike. Fuel economy regularly hits 45 to 50 miles per gallon, and the massive 6.1-gallon tank provides 300-mile range between fill-ups. This makes the KLR perfect for exploring remote areas where gas stations are 200 miles apart and cell service is a distant memory. The 2022 and newer models added fuel injection and ABS, improving cold weather, starting and braking safety on loose surfaces. Maintenance is incredibly simple because the single-cylinder design has fewer parts to break. Oil changes take 15 minutes and cost $30 in supplies. Valve adjustments are needed every 15,000 miles, but the procedure is straightforward for home mechanics with basic tools. Owners regularly report 100,000 miles and beyond with just basic upkeep. One rider documented 150,000 miles on a first-generation KLR with only a stator replacement needed beyond consumables like tires, chains, and brake pads. The bike's simplicity means you can fix most issues with basic tools on the side of a trail, hundreds of miles from the nearest dealer. Early 2008 to 2009 models had oil consumption issues, so monitor levels closely on these years. The doohickey, which is a balancer chain tensioner, should be upgraded on pre-2008 bikes to prevent rare but catastrophic failures. This modification costs $200 and takes a few hours, but provides peace of mind. Aftermarket support for the KLR is enormous, with companies like Eagle Mike offering upgraded parts for everything from suspension to luggage racks. Common modifications include softer seat foam for all-day comfort, handlebar risers for taller riders, and skid plates for rock protection on technical trails. New pricing starts at $7,000, making this one of the most affordable adventure bikes available. Used examples hold value well, with clean 2015 models selling for $5,000. Insurance is cheap too, averaging $200 per year because it is not classified as a sport bike. The KLR dominates adventure riding communities, seen on trails from the Trans-America Trail to overlanding trips in Alaska. This bike handles everything from daily commuting to crossing continents, equally comfortable on interstates and dirt roads. The vibrations at highway speeds can get tiresome on long stretches, and the suspension is basic compared to expensive adventure bikes costing 3 times as much. But those compromises are minor when you consider the reliability and capability. Riders tackling the Continental Divide or exploring national parks find the KLR to be the perfect tool. It might not be the fastest or most comfortable, but it will get you there and back without drama, without breakdowns, without excuses. The KLR 650 is not just reliable, it is legendary, and legends do not die, they just keep running. There you have it. Kawasaki's lineup offers solid choices if you pick the right model. The KLR 650 stands out for adventure seekers wanting bulletproof reliability. The ZX6R satisfies sport bike enthusiasts craving track precision. The Vulcan 900 delivers cruiser dependability without the drama. Avoid the Vulcan 2000 money pit and the Ninja 300 headaches, and your Kawasaki experience will be memorable for all the right reasons. Which one would you trust for 100,000 miles? Let us know in the comments.